Welcome to the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast, where we interview the biggest and most successful real estate entrepreneurs, investors, and capital raisers in the world to provide you with the tool sets, the mindsets, and the skill sets to help you conquer yourself, your life, your marriage, and use real estate as your wealth creation vehicle so that you can live a more successful, happy, and fulfilled life of growth and contribution. If what you're after is having it all, if what you desire is becoming the best version you can be across all areas, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, sentimentally, and financially, you've come to the right place. We will bring to you the best of the best real estate entrepreneurs who will give you the insights, knowledge, experience, and skills so that you can go out and crush it financially and across all areas of your life. Grab pencil and paper, sit back, enjoy, and you are welcome to the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast. Hello, Modern Kings and Queens. Welcome to another episode of the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast, where we interview some of the best, most experienced real estate investors, capital raisers, underwriters, deal finders, deal analyzers, to provide you with the tool sets, the mindsets, and the skill sets for you to conquer yourself, your life, your marriage, and use real estate as your wealth creation vehicle so that you can live a more successful, happy, and fulfilled life of growth and contribution. So today I have Jen Falloon. Is that how you pronounce it? I'm Mexican, so I sometimes have trouble with names.
No,
So
it's
Jen
perfect.
Falloon, she's the owner of Vorsa Investments. They're a real estate investment and syndication company, and they have over 900 doors nationwide. They help busy professionals. They give busy professionals the opportunity to own real estate without being the landlord, without wasting any time or investing any effort into doing everything that has to be done when it comes to owning real estate. And so she also, Jen also loves teaching. She's a mother, she's a wife, and I'm super excited to have you, Jen. Thank you very much for being here, and you're welcome to the show.
Awesome, Alex. Thank you for having me. I appreciate this opportunity.
Jen, the first thing that I do with my guest is I ask them to walk us through their real estate investing journey in 75 seconds or less.
Oh my gosh. Okay, in 75 seconds or less, I didn't want anything to do with real estate investing. My son was going to commit suicide. God saved him. Real estate was that vehicle. He was pretty young at the time, couldn't do it on his own. So I left my job, and together we've built an empire. He's more on the single family side now because we've split. We're together, but we just split companies, and he stayed with single family. I moved on to multifamily. Did I
Damn,
meet my mark? Did I do it in
yeah,
75
no,
seconds or less? Woohoo!
yeah, you're good, you're good, yeah. But I was shocked there for a moment. You said suicide?
Yes, he was very suicidal. He had been trying to get into the military, which was his life dream. If I showed you baby pictures, he's in camo, like he's going to be in the Navy and the Army and the Marines and all the things. And through a series of what at the time was a very unfortunate events, I feel like it was God paving his way for something bigger and better, right? So just
It always
because
is, yeah.
right? Just because it's not what we wanted doesn't mean there's not great things. However, as a 18, 19-year-old, that's hard to see, right? Especially when your life dreams are shattered. So anyway, yeah, through a series of very unfortunate events, he couldn't get into the military. They kept losing his paperwork. We were really transient at the time. It was just this horrible nightmare. And he came downstairs one day, and my husband and I were in the kitchen, and he said, if I can't get into the military this time, I'm going to commit suicide. Like there's no point in my life. And if I'm not here to serve a purpose, then there's no reason for me to take up unnecessary space. And if you knew my son, you would know that he's very black and white. He doesn't exaggerate. He doesn't, I'm sure he lies, but like not blatantly. So when he says something, he means it. And he said,
Yeah.
I'm not telling you this for attention. I'm telling you this so you can make your plans. I don't want to be a financial burden. So if you need to get life insurance, whatever you need to do to prepare, I'm letting you know this is going to happen. And
Holy
so
shit.
I lost, and then he walks out of the room, right? Like mic drop, I'm out. And yeah, I lost my mind, right? And I'm of course, as a mother, I'm sobbing and I'm praying, and I'm like, he's got to get into the military. This has to happen. So while this is going on, my husband has been wanting to get into real estate. We were new to San Antonio, Texas, hot area. And he said, we're going to go to REIA. I really want to do real estate. And I said, okay, I'll support you, but I can't be bothered with it right now. So we went to REIA. We were supposed to go to this 3-day boot camp. My boss was like, yeah, you don't get to go. We're short staffed and you have to work. So, but we had paid for these VIP tickets. So, and they were $1,000 a piece. So I was like, somebody's going to this. We
Yeah,
paid.
for sure.
And so my son was off work. So I said, hey, you're going to Austin. You're going to go to this real estate event. He said, that sounds horrible. I said, too bad. At the end of day one, he's calling me and he's like, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is my life mission. I'm here to help people. I'm here to save people from foreclosure. Like, this is my mission. And now it didn't matter if he went into the military because he had this other purpose and had this fulfillment in life. And so now he was like really sad. He's like, I don't want to go into the military because, now I'm wasting my time in the military when I could be helping people. Which he didn't get into the military. And I think that was God's grace for sure. But yeah, so, we did that for a couple years. And then I learned about multifamily and I said, this is what's going to make us millions. This is what breaks us out of, fixing and flipping and wholesaling, which again, my son still does. He likes it. It pays his bills, but I wanted something bigger. If this is what I was going to do, I wanted bigger.
Yeah. Well, that's a great story. Thank you very much for sharing, Jen. I like to talk a lot about the character traits behind these stories. I also always talk about networking and raising capital and underwriting and like real estate, but I also like to not breeze over the character traits that get a person out of a hard situation. Right. So in your case and in the case of your son, I think it was, right?
Mhm.
So you mentioned something very interesting. So like sometimes things don't go as like the way you plan them to go, or sometimes you get things that you don't want to get, or you at the moment you think they're bad, but they're preparing you for something else, right? For something bigger. And that doesn't mean that you know they're not, those things are not happening the way that they're supposed to be, right? Like something like that. That's like what you said. I don't know how you said it, but you said it
Well,
perfectly.
right. And I
Can you
call
tell me
them
about that? Yeah.
divine disruptions. So I'm going to trademark that. So, because I'm going to write a book about it because it's happened so many times in my life that it's exactly what it is, where we think we're on a path, right? We think we're doing the right thing and we're in God's will. And then all of a sudden something, happens. And now our train is completely off the tracks and we don't know why. And our world is falling apart. And if we just step back and we just, this is hard to say because I'm in other turmoil now as we speak. So I'm going to preach to myself here. It's, when you're in the middle of it, it's so hard to stop and
To
just
see.
be at peace, right? To just like say, okay, there is something bigger coming, right? I just have to be patient. Patience is not one of my virtues when you're talking about characteristics. Patience is like probably like dead last. I want things now. I need immediate gratification. I need to feel warm and fuzzy all the time. And when I don't, the anxiety kicks up and then, I just feel like Chicken Little with my head, cut off, running around all frantic. When if I just, you can just calm yourself enough to let God do what God's going to do, it always turns out for the better. Always, every time. There's not a single time in my life when I was in a divine disruption that my divine disruption didn't lead to something greater, bigger, better, that I'm infinitely thankful for.
Yeah, that's a great term, by the way. So any of you out there, you're welcome to use it like by just saying it, but don't write a book about it or anything like that
Right.
because
I will
Jen
sue
will.
you.
Yeah. So yeah, so to talk a little bit further about this, um this divine disruption, things may not, for a lot of people right now, a lot of people a lot of people's worlds right now are literally falling apart, right? So what would you say to them to help them see that the reason their world is falling apart and the reason there seems to be so much turmoil and so much uncertainty and so much hardship that they're going through, that the reason behind that is for them, right? Like for them to grow, for them to get better, for them to be stronger,
Yes.
because After that, once they get through that, they'll be a better version of themselves. They'll be stronger. They'll be faster. They'll be more intelligent. They'll be wiser. They'll be more, you know, what's the thing that you struggle with? Patient, and they'll be,
Mhm.
and that will prepare them for something bigger and something greater that God has in plan for them. But what would you tell someone to help them understand that? To help them understand that, all of this that they're going through is for them.
This is where having a strong community around you is vital, because nobody wants to hear that like I can't tell them, like, when you are in turmoil, sometimes we just need to be there for a minute, right? We don't want to be preached at. We just want somebody to listen, but you have to have that somebody there, right? And you have to have friends that are just like, hey, I'm just checking on you, or you know um I've been there. Sometimes you need to hear that somebody's been there. I had, so again, we're kind of like struggling with this portfolio that we bought in Florida. And, it was hurricane hit, 29 hurricane hit houses. It's been a nightmare. And I'm, scared and I'm frustrated. But my friend, again, who you have in your close circle is vital, because here I am saying these things, and here's my friend being like, it's going to be okay. We've done all these bad deals, and not that it's a bad deal, but she was able to tell me her experiences that she's had, which was way worse than mine, and sometimes we need to hear that, and how they overcame it. So now I have a blueprint, right? I'm like, okay, I'm going to do what she did. So that anybody that's in turmoil, I would just really say, lean on your friends, lean on your network, lean on people that you trust, make sure it is, people that are truly going to love you and through it. Because not everybody that's in your circle is your friend. So be aware of that. But,
Yeah.
who loves you. Like, rely on them. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I know that's another thing that a lot of us struggle with, especially as entrepreneurs, right? Because we're really solopreneurs most of the time. It's everything falls on you, and you have to shoulder all the burdens. It doesn't have to be that way, right? It's okay
Yeah.
to ask for help. It's okay to be like, hey, Alex, man, this is on my heart and I really just need to unload. Do you have a minute? And as a community, and especially as brothers and sisters in Christ, we need to do more of that and be that for our friends.
Yeah, that's great advice. So learn how to rely on people, because that's something that has to be learned, that we're not taught how to rely on people, right? Like, we
Right?
prefer to keep everything to ourselves, just like hold on to everything really tight, and don't tell anything and suffer in silence. But there's this saying that I really like, that I learned when I was part of a mastermind, that I think is very true. Pain shared is pain divided, right? So when you share your pain with someone else, that, or something like that, I think it's something like that. But yeah, shared pain is pain shared is pain divided, right? So that pain is divided amongst everyone. Everyone can feel your pain, because everyone amongst that circle has probably been through that, right? And not only will your pain become less, those people with experience will probably help you get through it a lot better, right?
Right?
In a
Absolutely.
much easier way.
Mhm.
The other thing is asking for help, right? So, um, yeah, we like to not ask for help for some reason. So that's another very important thing that we have to learn, and realize that it doesn't make you any less than what you are right now. Actually, smart people ask for help, right? So,
Yeah.
anybody out there who who's going through hard times, um, rely on someone, right? Like, look for someone that, like Jen said, loves you. There's those people exist, even though right now you can't think of one. And go and tell them about your problems. And the other thing is, reach out to Jen, reach out to me, and ask for help. We will probably be able to help. So, that's that. Those were great insights. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, Jen, and I just lost my train of thought just because I've been working all day, and I'm kind of tired. But I don't remember. So I go to the next thing that I wanted to ask. So for your son, right? His identity was attached to being in the military,
Hmm.
right? And without it, like, what was he? Nothing. Like, that's, at least that's what he felt.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
um, so that's like a huge thing, right? And then he solved it just by replacing it with something else. Um, so is there anything like, because identity is a huge thing in the entrepreneurial world, like in your journey to success. There's a lot of identities that you're going to have to let go of, and then there's more identity that you're going to have to need or use to be able to be successful. um is there any lesson or story that you could tell to help people with that?
Um, I'm sure. So here's the thing, at least for us, right? Like you're right. His identity was the military. So when the military didn't work out, he was nobody. He was nothing. And what a shame as a parent to not have, I don't know, I guess, um, gave him more of a life, I suppose. Like he was in sports and stuff. So, and he did sports amazing. He's an incredible athlete. So he was the one that pretty much put his eggs in that basket where he could have been like, okay, if I'm not going to be in the military, I'm going to be this great golfer. He was a fantastic golfer. He played soccer really well. Um, but as trying to like, raise a man, who's going to make his own decisions and do his own thing, I didn't want to impose and be like, well, you should or should not, be this other person. But the lesson in all of this is be careful that this isn't your entire identity, right? Like, yes, I'm a business owner and I love my businesses. Like Vorsa Investments is my baby. I built this, I birthed her, I'm building her to greatness. But if it all fell apart tomorrow, I still have other identities. Like I am a very loving wife. My husband and I have an amazing marriage. We have a great time together. We're best friends. I'm a fantastic mom. I love my kids. I have a great time with my kids. I have grandchildren through my son's children, and I'm an amazing Mimi, and they love me. And so, there are other parts of me. I am a mentor. I've been a Young Life, which is a Christian organization, leader. I've been a Sunday school teacher. I've done other things. So my identity isn't just wrapped in this. And I think this is where a lot of gurus might struggle, is that business is their identity and they're nobody
Yeah,
outside of that. And so be careful, like
that
build
was
your
great.
business, love it, but don't make that solely who you are.
Yeah. So realize that you are more than what you think you are, right? More than the money that you make, the car that you drive. You're more. And that was just great, Jen. You articulated that incredibly well. So thank you for that. And I remembered what I wanted to ask you next.
Okay.
And it was the instant gratification thing. Have you found a way to solve for that? Because
No.
right now, like you haven't
Mm-mm.
found a way to solve for that.
No, I probably am not ever going to. I mean, no. I
You
think
don't want to?
that's probably like who I am as a person, right? Like, um, yeah, I that'll probably never happen. Um, yeah, I'm not even gonna try.
Well, I mean, that's also an identity, right? That you're choosing to hold on to, just like you said, that your son chose to like get that identity and then nothing else, and then it's just like a choice, a conscious choice. Because when he got another choice, another
Mhm.
thing that really resonated with him, he chose to, oh, this is better, and then he chose to go with it, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. If I find something better, I'll go with it.
yeah, for sure. From experience, I can tell you what has worked for me if you like.
Yes, I'd love to
Yeah.
hear. Please.
So so there's two things that I do that I think are incredible. Number one is ice baths. I take an ice bath every single day.
Oh,
So
that will
my
never happen.
yeah, they're kind of hard. Not
But I
anymore,
love it.
right?
I
Not
love that you
anymore,
do that.
but yeah, but I do it. So my morning routine used to be like an hour and a half, and I used to be the type of guy that did all of those things to be able to get their day started and function. But now I don't. Now my morning routine is like 15 minutes. I wake up at whatever 5:30, 5:15, and then by 5:30 I'm working. But my I've shifted my morning routine to later in the day, right? So I work really hard and I'm able to focus. But then when I'm kind of tired and when I'm kind of like burned out, I
Mm,
go to like what my morning routine would have been in the morning. Then and then I'm able to like restart it and get refreshed and then all of that. And the two things that I do on my morning routine that is not really morning routine is I take an ice bath and then I do yoga.
okay. Yes.
Yoga is incredible, Jen. Like I think every single person should do it because your body is your subconscious mind, right? Like 95% of the behaviors that you do are unconscious. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Mhm.
Um, but all of those habits, all of those behaviors, what do you used to do them with? Your body, right? You do them with your body. So 95% of the behaviors are unconscious, and those behaviors are done with your body. So the body is the door to the subconscious mind. And yoga really like gets those two things together, your body and your mind. It gets them together, and you just like the connection that you have with yourself, the connection that you have with your body, with your subconscious mind, with all the thoughts and limiting beliefs that are going on, um come to the surface, and then you're able to solve them, right? So those are the two things that I do that have really served me a lot. 5-minute ice baths every single day. I do them every single day. I'm addicted to them now.
Okay.
And then yoga, right? So those, and that has helped me with instant gratification and becoming more patient, because when you're sitting on a 40-degree water that is literally freezing
Yeah,
and you
right.
need to wait 5 minutes, right? You get more patient, right? Especially if you've chosen to not have any other choice than to finish the time. And
Hmm.
then when you are doing like a 45-minute yoga session and every single movement is like slow and you need to
Yeah.
breathe, you learn how to become patient. So those are the two things that have helped me with the instant gratification thing, Jen, and to become more patient, just in case you may want to give them a try. Not ice bath; they're too hard, but
Okay,
just
good.
in case.
I'll do the
So
yoga for sure.
yeah, you should try it. So Jen, so talk to me about Vorsa Investments.
So we're a real estate acquisition and syndication company. We started in 2019. Well, we kind of had the idea in 2019, really didn't launch until 2020, did our first deal in 2020. And since then, we've acquired 324 units in Louisiana, Slidell, Louisiana, and 101 units in Houston, Texas. We've acquired 30 house portfolio in Florida. And then we're looking at a major, we just put an LOI in for a major portfolio in Missouri. So yeah, so that was just kind of like our next move. And mostly did this because of the underwriting. So my husband's a CPA by trade. And
Nice.
when I learned about real estate, I was like, this is how he gets in. Because it's funny, he wanted to do real estate. I didn't want anything to do with it. I had a life I loved. But I got sucked in, right? And then I became
Yeah.
the face of our business. And so when I learned about multifamily, I was like, this is perfect. This is can be his business. I'll start it and then he can take over, and that won't work. So now I'm the face again. But um, he loves that spreadsheet. He geeks out on the underwriting. And he's very much a perfectionist. So he'll be great, but he still has a W-2 job that right now he refuses to leave. He does make exceptional money, and his terms have been pretty clear all along that, X amount has to be in the bank before he'll leave. And we're almost there. But every deal, I'm like, this is it. You're out. And he's like, nope, one more deal. And I'm like, oh, you're killing me, dude. This is the game we play. And yeah, so this was really my hope and my dream, and his too, to like get him out of the W-2 world. Let us run this business together. Let this dream that, he first planted that seed, let him, reap some of the rewards of the businesses we started.
Great. So he's a CPA. He's a numbers guy, spreadsheets guy, right? So that's
Mhm.
awesome. And you, I think, are a deal finder and capital raiser. So you make an amazing team. So
Yeah.
let's talk about you, right? So what would you say is like your main thing? I mean, obviously you do multiple things like deal finding and capital raising, but what do you enjoy the most?
Oh, capital raising. I call it, I get paid to party. So in high school, I was a party girl. In young life, we had like, clubs where we partied and had skits and played, and it was all, Jesus centered, but it was still fun, right? Like I'm an extrovert. I'm a party girl. I want to have fun. And, syndicating and raising money puts me out there. I love to be on podcasts. Eventually I will have one of my own, but I love going to the networking, and I don't do a lot of real estate networking. Unless I have friends there and I'm there to party, I don't use RIAs. I don't go to RIAs. You won't see me at FinCon. You won't see me at, the Elevate. You won't see me anywhere in the real estate space. Um, but you will see me at charity events. You'll see me, where I'm raising money for things that I believe in. You'll see me at car clubs. You'll see me at, um, Houston, Lamborghini, McLaren rallies, so
Nice.
yeah.
So that's interesting. Mm. So why have you chosen to not go to these real estate events that you mentioned, but do go to these charities and these other type of events?
Because I am a syndicator, I'm a money raiser, right? And and basically everybody else is, right? So there is nobody in the real estate space that isn't begging for money. So why would I go and spend my time and money that's precious begging for money from people who are begging for money? Right? So it's like this catch 22. Like, you can't help me and I can't help you. And that's very general, right? Like, we can't help each other and we should.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but as far as like raising money, as far as where my focus is, if you have a deal that you're raising money for, I can't ask you to help me raise money for my deal, and you could ask me to raise money, but I'm probably not, because I have my own deals. So where is the money where people aren't in real estate? They don't know about syndications. They don't know about the tax breaks they can get. They don't know about the consistent passive income. Where are those people? But at the same time, I want to like those people. I want to do business with those people. I want to be in line with those people. So those are the events that I attend, because those are my people. And the bonus is I get to talk about what I do and bring them in and, make them very wealthy.
Boom. If I had a bomb, like Brad Lee's podcast, I would have like pressed it and there would have been a bomb right now on this moment, because you're maybe not the first person, but one of the only people that has said, I don't go to real estate investing meetup. Like everyone suggests to go to meetups, to go to real estate events, right? And you're one of the only ones that I've heard say, don't go to meetups, don't go to real estate. Well, not don't, right? But that you don't go to meetups, that you don't go to real estate events. You go to other types of events, because real estate investing meetups, real estate investing events have other real estate investors and capital raisers who are looking to raise capital. So there's no point on, going there where you find other people who are trying to do the same thing as you, right? So you'll go where the money is, and that's in events where real estate investors are not in. So yeah, that was awesome. I just loved it. Can you tell me a story about that? Like maybe an event that you've gone, and like how do you approach it? Like your strategy behind it? You just go to the event and you start like partying, or like how do you do it?
Yeah, I party everywhere I go. I'm partying in the middle of Walmart. So it really kind of happened by accident. I have a friend that worked for a media company, who invited me to a McLaren rally. And she said, you should be a sponsor. There's, all these people and they have all this money, they're millionaires. They buy McLarens. They surely will invest with you. And so I said, sure. And I bought all the stuff and had the swag. And it was great because NOS, the energy drink, was also a major sponsor. So I got tons of koozies, and we put our Vorsa koozies on the NOS cans. And so everybody was walking around with, Vorsa koozies. And then we had keychains and stuff. And, we got to have like a little 2-minute speech about who we are and what we do. And, we had tons of people come to our tent and, express interest. And then we were like, that was our aha moment, right? So then we started sponsoring Lamborghini, and we started sponsoring Ferrari. And then I was like, well, where else do I want to be? And so I found charities that I really loved, and sponsored those. And then for anybody that's like, these sponsorships are expensive, and they more than pay for themselves though, but it is hard, especially if somebody's just starting out and they're like, this is what I want to do. There's no way I even have $1,000 to sponsor. That's awesome. Find the charity you love and ask to sit on their chair. They need help. They need volunteers. And sitting on a chair of a nonprofit is, one, absolutely free. And two, it gives you immediate credibility. You are now the authority in the room. You are now one of the head honchos of that organization. And you now get an eagle eye view of everybody that's, all of the participants, all of the sponsors, everybody. You have access to all of them.
Nice. So, is this how you were able to take down a $30 million apartment complex on your own?
No, well, so okay, so yes, it was not on my own. We had partners. So the deal was I don't even know if it's right to say the deal was mine. So my broker, that's a great friend of mine, brought me the deal. He pushed me because I was like, there's no way we can do a $30 million deal on our own right out the gate. Like, that's just impossible. And he said, nope, we're going to do it. And I went to one of my mentors and he turned it down. But the whole time my broker was pushing me. He's like, we have to take this down. We have to take this down. I sourced the partners that were able to help us take it down. I would never have been able to do it on my own. But I found the right people. So there's a book called Who, Not How.
Yeah.
And if you haven't read it, absolutely read it. But it's finding the people to do the things you cannot. And so I found those very strategic partnerships, and we were very careful about who we partnered with. And now we're great friends. But that's who helped us take it down. But yes, do the events help? Yeah, because my funnel still needed to be built.
Yeah.
Even though he was more experienced, he was really the one that should get the credit for taking the deal down. I just brought the deal. I raised some money. I helped as a GP, but he was the asset manager. He did all the work. Love him to death. But I can't do another deal, without that funnel being built. So, the events are what has built our funnel for sure.
Awesome. So, Jen, the people who listen to this podcast are either active real estate investors or passive real estate investors. Some of them don't know yet. However, every single person that listens to this podcast has taken a choice. That choice is that they're going to use real estate as their wealth creation vehicle. Just kind of like you, when you thought you didn't want anything to do with real estate, and then when you came across the opportunity and you're like, oh, actually, yeah, this could work, right? So kind of like that. So is there any, so for passive real estate investors that watch this, is there any opportunity that you may have going on right now, or anything that you may want to share?
Well, so I still file 506B. So
Okay.
if you don't know, for the people who are new, they may not know, there's 506B, 506C. 506B, as in boy, is for non-accredited investors. Non-accredited investors can participate, but we can't advertise.
Yeah.
506C is, accredited investors, but you can advertise. We still have a lot of friends and family who are not accredited.
Hello, morning kings and queens. At my company, Millionaire Network Automation, we believe in the power of networking. We believe that in real estate, your net worth is your network. This is why we help real estate investors raise capital by connecting them with their ideal investors and helping them build a massive network of their ideal investors in less than 30 days and with only 4 hours of work per week. If you're interested in this, click the link below in the description of this podcast to learn how you can propel your growth with a reliable system that will consistently help you connect with your ideal investors, build trust, add value, get your investors to promote you and put you in front of more of their investor friends, and raise more capital faster and in a much more effortless way so that you can achieve your financial freedom and still have the time and the energy to pour into every single other area of your life. So go watch the training, and you're going to have the opportunity to book a call to talk about how you can get this 100% done for you system implemented in the next 5 days. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you later, and enjoy the rest of this episode. Bye-bye.
And we want them to be able to participate. We want to show them this vehicle for building true generational wealth. So I can't advertise my deals. However, if you're listening and you want to jump on, because I'm tons of fun and we're always going to do awesome deals that'll make you tons of money. That's not a promise, but just a fun little nugget. You can go to my website, fill out the accreditation form, jump on an onboarding call, and I'm happy to, start those steps to get you in, the next deal. We always have amazing deals coming up. Right now we have three, and I can say like two are in Missouri, and the second one is in Texas. And these are great deals. And I'm really going to be sad if, it's really hard pressed for anybody to take down three deals at once. Um, but if I could, I sure would. So if you are interested at all, this is your time to jump in.
Awesome. Thanks. Thanks. I have a lot of people that are looking for deals that don't have deal flow right now in Texas and Missouri as well. So I'll keep in touch on that.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I love the Midwest. That's, blue collar, hardworking, just, you know, I love the Midwest.
so Jen, let's get into the real estate investing obstacle deep dive. It's a small section of every single podcast that I do to talk about common obstacles that real estate investors face on a daily basis, just to get them the tools and the mindsets and the skill sets for them to be able to overcome those challenges a lot better and navigate their journey easier. So and since you are into, or your thing is like capital raising, let's focus on that. So what do you think would be like the main obstacle real estate investors face when it comes to raising capital?
So I think it flows, like it changes. Right now we are in, um, I guess economic uncertainty,
Mm-hmm.
and people are scared, right? And everybody, and a lot of people. So one of the things I talk about is middle class mindset, and most of us have grown up middle class, with the middle class mindset. And one thing that the middle class love to do is get a financial advisor, because then they feel like they're upper middle class with a financial advisor, which is like the worst thing you can do. But it's, you know, the financial advisors are like, oh no, real estate is so volatile. And it is a little scary right now. But it always comes back, right? So once again, we're kind of in this, juxtaposition where, and you can edit that out, that was terrible, but, where interest rates are high, and, you know, um, but the reality is interest rates aren't high. They're exactly where they were, 4 or 5 years ago. They were just at an abnormal low,
Yeah,
and we all of a sudden considered that to be normal. Well, that wasn't normal. That was just, that was a flux. That was a
free
fluke,
money.
right? We Interest rates aren't high. They're normal. This is where they've kind of always been. And we just, of course, in a perfect world, they would have always stayed, 3, 4%, but that's just not the reality. Um, and people are nervous and people are scared. And, the only way to overcome that is education, asking good questions. I have a lead magnet on my website, how to vet a syndicator. Educate yourself. What is a syndicator, or a syndication? Who's the best syndicator? Who works for me? How do I get my money out? What keeps my money safe? Even though SEC says we can't really say that, it is better and certainly less volatile than the stock market. But we've been trained as, middle class thinkers, that that's where our money should be. And that's the absolute worst place your money can be. So I would just say, anybody that's scared, educate. The more educated you are, the more confident you become.
Hmm. Great. So just to see if I got that right, and then just to repeat it to make sure that any other active real estate investor, capital raiser who's looking to raise capital got that right. So then one of the problems with capital raising is that people, the people that you're trying to raise capital from,
Mm.
are scared, right? Because of the uncertain times. They've been raised with this middle class mindset where they've been told that the best place for them to have their money is in a 401k, REI, the stock market. Um, and then they're scared because of all the things that they hear. So the key to that is you mentioned your lead magnet is educating them.
Educate them, yes.
Okay. So the way that you overcome that obstacle of having lots of people feel scared because of the uncertain times and all of that, or be confused about where they should put their money, is education. And one of the ways that you do that is through your lead magnet. Do you have a book, or what do you offer?
So I do have a newsletter, and so we address a lot of, like, things that are going on in the economy in our newsletter. And no, I don't have a book. I do want a podcast, so that is coming. I have several other lead magnets that I've built. I've written 3 books. None of them, they're all in my folder, just waiting to be finished or edited or a cover. It's crazy, but um, for somebody that always wants instant gratification, I get right to the end of something and then I'm like,
Ah,
squirrel. And it's like this just one thing that needed to be done for it to launch. And but I did
scroll.
right. I know. I do the same thing. However, I hired an executive assistant and she's gonna fix it all. So she's amazing.
Who,
But
not how.
yeah, thank you. Who, not how. But yeah, just any source materials, right? It doesn't have to be a podcast. It could be just a phone call. Like
Yeah,
stay in
for
touch
sure.
with your investors and ask questions, right? Like, what are you afraid of? Like, at the end of the day, there is a root cause. If you can get to that root cause, you can fix that objection.
And that's where the relationship building comes from, right? To like
Mhm.
actually
Oh, yeah.
getting on a call, on a one-on-one face-to-face conversation where you take the time to explain to people, teach to people, and walk them through how everything looks like, so that way they get to know, like, and trust you. That's where like the relationship building comes into place when you educate people. So yeah, I think that was a great insight. So for all of you out there who are looking to raise capital and think that you haven't been able to just because people are scared of these uncertain times or they just don't get it, well, that's part of your job,
Oh,
educating them, right?
absolutely. Yes.
So, Jen, is there any other um obstacle that you might have faced, or that you see other capital raisers face, and that makes it hard for them to like raise capital?
Um, well, I mean, there are people that are killing it raising capital, but they're having a hard time finding deals. And they're
Hmm.
not penciling, or maybe there's tons of deals actually, but they're not penciling. Insurance rates are going crazy. If you're in the Sun Belt state, holy smokes, you're just getting killed on insurance. Taxes are going up. So it's really hard, to get a deal to pencil well. And again, I would say don't, think outside the box, right? Like, we're entrepreneurs. Um, and, handwrite letters to, small apartment complex owners. Go knock on their door, introduce yourself, see if they're interested in selling, make face-to-face connections. Hey, I'm just starting out, or hey, I own, you know, 1 million doors. I'd
Yeah.
like to, buy your building. Like, you know, what does that look like? And if you can get direct to owner, you can probably get pretty decent terms. And if you can get them to, do some creative seller financing, the deals are there. I have 3 right now that we're like praying over and raising money for. Every one of them is direct to owner, and every one of them, the owner is willing to do some sort of creative financing to get the deal done.
Nice. So then the key to raising capital is finding good deals. Did I get that right?
Well, yeah, that's absolutely part of it. Get a good deal, because if you don't have a deal, there's nothing to pitch to somebody.
Yeah.
When we don't have a deal, I will pitch our previous deals that we have. Like, I'll show them our financials, I'll show them our underwriting. This is how it's performing now. So we have a proven track record for success. And this is what the numbers look like. And of course, every deal is different, but it kind of gives them an idea of our success and how we do things and how our underwriting is ridiculously conservative. Um, so, which is very important. But again, when you're building relationships, that's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So you really need to put in the time, have the patience. This is where I do have patience, but I'm also a relationship driven person, right?
Yeah.
So I
That's your
love
thing.
it is my thing. And I love being on the phone, and I love educating because I do love this stuff. I totally nerd out on it. Um, but you have to keep in mind that it is a long distance play. It's going to take a while. Um, And, I say that, and then somebody will call and be like, I heard you on a podcast. Here's $500,000, and I'm just going to trust you are who you say you are. But most instances, it is, it's a marathon play.
For sure. So, Jen, before we end the podcast, I have a couple of questions that I want to end with. The first one is, what is a negative or limiting mindset that you maybe struggled with that you think might have held you back a little bit in your real estate investing journey?
Um, I probably the biggest one is, well, I say that, but now there's like 100 that flood, right? Because I'm flawed and I know my flaws. I didn't come from money whatsoever. Like um, was, relatively poor growing up. I had grandparents that provided very well, but my parents were poor, and my mom had been divorced several times, broken home. Didn't care in high school, right? Like I just wanted to party and I rarely showed up. Um, I just was married young, had my kids young, divorced, was a single mom for 6 years. That was a struggle, so all this stuff, right? Just all this like junk from my past. At some point, like that's not who I am anymore. But I
Yeah.
look and like nobody in my circle knows any of that. They just know me from, 2017, 2018, when I had my life together. And, I mean, I've been married to my husband for 14 years, and, I was a stay-home mom, and like I've had the perfect life for 14 years. But there's still those doubts of who I was back then. And why would anybody give me money when I wasn't very good in high school? Why would anybody give me money when, I was divorced? Why would anybody give me money? I was a single mom. Why would anybody give me money? I probably had a 400 credit score at one time, and it's like they don't know that. And I'm
Yeah.
happy to share it, but that still will hold me back. Like it's just, something that's got to be let go, right? Like you're not who
Right.
you are in your past. And just so you know, now I have an 800 credit score. And I love to say that because there's like so many people that, didn't want to see me where I am. And that's one of my favorite things. Like I have an 800 credit score, but as a single mom who didn't have anything, that was one of those impossible dreams. And
Mm,
so, just to show I'm, but anyway, limiting beliefs, you gotta cut them. You have to arrest those thoughts the second they happen. And I think I had a spiritual mentor, business mentor, that said every time you have one of those negative beliefs, it takes like 22 positive beliefs to drown that out. So when you started with your mantra, I was like, is that your mantra that you say, when you need to have a boost? So, mine is, if I have a negative thought of they don't want to invest with me because, XYZ, man, I arrest that quick. And I'm like, they do want to invest with me because I'm smart. I'm, have conservative underwriting, like all the great things that have built my business. That's why they should invest with me.
mm, good. I like that. So,
Mhm.
thanks for being real, right? The imposter syndrome thing, I think everyone struggles with that at some point. Or I think that never goes away, because if you're on this journey of growth, you're constantly climbing the levels of life and business, and when you get to a new level, you're constantly reminded of, hey, but you're the person who was down there at the previous level, right?
Right.
So there's a huge thing that everyone has to let go of, the imposter syndrome and all of that. But that insight that you just gave, right? Like as soon as that thought comes into your mind of not being good enough, or I can't do this because of that, or I can do that because of this, right? Arrest it, and then flip it around
Mhm.
in your to be of, I don't know the word, but let's keep on going. So Jen, that was awesome. Thanks. The next question is, what's a networking strategy? But you already gave it, which is not going to networking event. Actually, repeat it. I'm gonna do it because it's going to be a clip.
Yeah.
Jen, what is a good networking strategy that you think has helped you be successful in real estate?
Everything not real estate and related. Sponsorships, sponsor clubs, sponsor sporting events, sponsor nonprofits, sit on the board of a nonprofit, find things that are near and dear to your heart, where the people that you want to be around, where they're at. And then, just give your time, give your money, whatever that resource is, give it, be a part of that team. And the money will come.
Great. Awesome. The last question, Jen, is would you do anything different if you could in your real estate investing journey?
Oh, this is such a tricky question, right? Because of course we want to say, oh yeah, I wouldn't do this deal, or yeah, I wouldn't do this. But if I said that, then that doesn't put me where I am today,
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Like I like who I am. I like my life. And that if I changed anything, all the bad stuff that I just vomited all over your guests, if I changed any of that, I wouldn't be who I am today. And I really like who I am today. And I like what those lessons taught me, right? Like none of that went without teaching. None of that went without a lesson and building me into who I am today. I'm, way harder in a good way. I'm way smarter. I just, I make good decisions. I manage money well. I have an 800 credit score. Like I'm doing all the right things, but I wouldn't be that if I changed anything. So, in a perfect world, sure, I would change everything and I'd be, Barbie, in the perfect Barbie world. Uh, but yeah, so no, I wouldn't change anything.
Good. I mean, the mindset that you just shared is great, right? So like self-acceptance and to be grateful about where you are and all the things that has brought you here, because all of those things that have brought you here is what you've been made up out of. So that's a great mindset to have, right? And I appreciate that. So Jen, um, it's been great connecting with you. I've really enjoyed it. I've learned a lot. Thank you very much. I'm sure that anyone else who will listen to this podcast will also get a lot of value from this. And to all of you who do get a lot of value, if you got any like a mindset shift, if you learned a new skill, maybe some new piece of information, maybe you got some motivation or the inspiration to go out, take action, and keep on moving forward towards your goals, please share this episode. Share it with a friend. Share with someone you think this might impact. Share with someone who might be interested to invest in Missouri or Texas. Just share it, because if you help us share, you help us help other people. And to all of you who do share, I send a big thank you. And Jen, is there any last words that you may want to share?
No, I mean, if you are struggling and you don't feel like you have anybody to speak with, please reach out to me. I'm here as a resource. I'm here as, just a sounding board. I never want anybody to ever feel like they don't have somebody. So if you are that
Yeah.
person that just happened upon Alex's channel and you're like, you know, I love that, but I don't have anybody. There's literally nobody that I can talk to. Please make me that somebody. I'm happy to extend that.
Jen, we'll put your Facebook, your Instagram, your LinkedIn, your website on the description of wherever this podcast appears. Thank you very much, Jen. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks,
And I'll see you
Alex.
later.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast. We want you to know that we love and appreciate you, and we're super grateful about being part of your journey of becoming a successful real estate entrepreneur and having it all. Please share this episode with a friend who you think will be impacted positively. Send it to someone who you know is interested in real estate and dreams of having it all and being the best they can be across all areas. And if you thought this episode was really valuable, share it on your social media as a post or a story. We have a special gift for all of those who contribute to the Modern Kings and Queens movement. So for those of you who decided to share this episode and help us spread our message, send me a message letting me know on any social media platform at Alex Ramirez, the Modern King. I have a special surprise for you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.